our revenue year to date was up 24.2% and gross profit was up 31.2%.
I'm Tim McKinnon. This is ABN Newswire, and I'm speaking with the Managing Director for Apiam Animal Health Limited on the ASX, AHX, Dr. Chris Richards. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, Tim.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Now, I know you've just put out your third quarter results, which we'll talk about in a second, but just as a reiteration of the company, the brand, and what it's doing now with a series of acquisitions, and even one very soon to be on the table, please just run through that for everyone.
Yeah, so Apiam is Australia's largest rural and regional veterinary group. So our services are to not just companion animals in the rural and regional areas, but livestock industries. So we've been growing quite rapidly over the last couple of years through organic growth, but also through a series of acquisitions that we've been making. And we've also been developing new clinics in some fast-growing areas.
We're seeing pressure from consumer spending at the moment in the economy, but one of the things that is very special about your business is the mixed vet products. That's where you've got domestic animals, and it's no longer what you would call discretionary spending. Please run over that.
No, you're right. I mean, we've seen a real humanisation of pets over the last few years. So it was starting to happen before the pandemic, and then it really accelerated during the pandemic as they became a very important part of the family. So, as a result of that, we're seeing the same level of, if not higher levels of healthcare being provided to pets that people would be normally doing for themselves. So it's really changing what's happening on the veterinary landscape, and we're probably seeing it grow faster, and those standards of care develop faster in rural and regional areas. So, we've just put out our third quarter year-to-date results, where our revenue year-to-date was up 24.2% and gross profit was up 31.2%. So what's really important...
Is this generically across all the sectors of your business, or is one leading?
No, that's across the whole business. We're certainly seeing major drive happening out of the mixed animal clinics with our companion animal and dairy and equine business. There's no doubt about that. But we're also seeing some growth happening in our pig business as well. So yeah, it's happening across the board. We've still got some headwinds in the feedlot industry, but overall we're seeing that growth. I mean, what's really pleasing is we're seeing earnings margin expansion. So, for Q3 year to date, we had underlying EBITDA of 7.1%, which was up points from 6.7% on the same comparative period last year. So, so across the business, we're really seeing that. So, our underlying EBITDA, was actually up 31.5%.
Wow.
So on the March year to date, so on the previous year. So, we're spending a lot of time at the moment, a lot of effort in really trying to get that margin expansion and getting the synergies from the large number of acquisitions that we've made in the last couple of years.
So talking about those acquisitions, it probably takes some time for the inertia of those acquisitions to feed into the bottom line.
It does, although we start to get some initial upside in the first 6 months. So, when we put out our half-year results, we reported that acquisitions that we've made in FY22 had like-for-like growth of 7.8%. So, they're certainly growing a little bit faster than what our existing mature business is. It's year to date has been growing at 4.5% for those dairy and mixed animal clinics. So we're continuing to get like-for-like revenue growth and also gross margin expansion as well,
which predictably will increase non-linear in the coming period. So going forward over the next 6 months, you've got an acquisition last month. You've got one coming up very soon, and so what's the plan for the next 6 months, Chris?
Yeah, so we sort of slowed down our acquisition program a little bit. So we're really focusing on our existing business at the moment. We've got several acquisitions that we expect to come into FY24. But we have been building new clinics. So we opened a new clinic in Yarrawonga in northern Victoria last month, and we've got another clinic that's opening in Caboolture in Queensland. In that
not far from me. Terrific.
So as you know, it's a rapidly growing area. A lot of new housing development that's happening there, and a lot of commercial enterprises that are going in. So we'll open that next week. So, which is fantastic. You know, we've been able to get the people, the vets, to be able to come straight in and open that from day one. So it's a pretty exciting time for us, with not just the organic growth we're seeing in the business, but the new clinics that we're building and those that are joining us.
It's interesting, you know, you've got one Caboolture and you're saying these businesses are growing. I wonder if it's a product of people leaving the cities, being in a more rural environment, and then picking up companion animals.
I think we've seen that in the last 2 or 3 years. So moving out of the capital cities, moving within sort of an hour and a half of those capital cities, and then changing the way that they work. So coming into the office in the capital cities a couple of days a week, but spending time out in the regional areas. And of course, when they go into the regional areas, you know, a lot of them are coming on larger blocks or hobby farms, and that means that they can have an additional pet or other livestock. So we're certainly seeing that happening in all those regional growth corridors out of all the capital cities.
For investors watching, go and have a look at Apiam Animal Health's website, have a look at the acquisitions and the proposed acquisitions, and I encourage anyone to follow the progress. And it sounds like it's going to be exciting 2023 calendar year. Chris, thank you very much for joining us.
No worries. Thanks, Tim.